come up with a breeding stock and then do the queen bit that I was telling you about to produce more of these queens. Then we're going to swap between ourselves. And the idea is over about 4 years, we'll come up with some really good queens that are bred for this area and are surviving quite well, doing well without chemicals. That's the idea. To up the genetics, those hives there are a selection of a number of different strains of bees. And these are buckfast, carniolans, Italians, and as the names give you, Italians, I think it's Apis mellifera robustica or something like that. They started there. They were found in northern Italy. Carniolans were found in Georgia, Hungary, up in that area. And so there are these different strains that have different qualities.
Cool. So you're kind of mixing and matching it, fitting into the area.
So yeah, basically the idea is to get more drone stock up, get more mixing, and then we'll do the selection of which seems to be working better in this area, both for survival against the varroa mite, other diseases, and honey production. So that's what we're about.
Cool. Where are the flowers that they're pollinating? Is this all in your plot? Or everywhere?
They're gone, Armin. They're not here anymore. Mainly what we get here is black locust and tulip poplar.
Okay.
That way, basically. Okay. What's back there is the Pretty Boy watershed, and that's a huge reservoir area.
Okay, so that's not your land? Or is it just stuff in the area?
Bees will fly
Anywhere,
easily
right?
up to about 3 miles.
Nice.
So we've got 43 acres here, but
they can go anywhere.
They go anywhere. And
cool.
Our acreage is long and thin, so they're going any which way. Which is why it's really hard to say, oh, we've got organic honey. It's hard for anybody to say that. Middle of the desert, maybe. But do I know that there's not somebody raising GMO corn over here and spraying pesticides in their flowers over there? I cannot say that. So I can use 0 chemicals in my hives, but I don't know what the bees are on. So I can't truthfully say it's organic because it's not. There's nothing but organic grown within 3 miles of my house. So I can't really say that.
Yeah, that probably makes it tough for what you guys are doing as well, trying to create those breeds. Does it make it tough to see what's going on?
It is, in the sense that you don't know what the outside influences are.
Yeah.
You don't know. Well, we do know a couple of things. The scientific studies have shown that bees raised in strictly agricultural areas, even though they're in the country, are having a much harder time than bees raised in these mixed areas or even in cities. Bees in New York City, smack in the middle of New York City, are doing better than the bees in Iowa. You wouldn't have thunk it, but it seems to be statistically true. And people are thinking that it's the general spew of the chemicals that are used. You take 98% of that land is under chemical farming. Well, those chemicals are not staying necessarily confined to that 98%. And the bees are not necessarily staying off that 90%. So that mix is proving, let's say, questionable. Purdue did a study on the dust that comes off planters. They coat the seeds with a talc that allows the seeds to slide down the planter shoots, and the shoots are cleaned using compressed air. So every time a seed goes in, there's of compressed air. That talc is floating, and the talc contains some of the neonicotinoid pesticides that the seeds are coated with, and that float is going outside the original field onto the border areas where the bees may be. And so Purdue has found that there is a significant amount of those pesticides being carried back to the hives. So even a guy who's doing his best to be organic as much as he can control can't ever say that unless he's on an island or in the middle of a desert or something like that. Interesting. So we do the best we can. Even the The wax that I get for foundation that the bees build their comb on, that wax I buy from the only place I can buy it, which is commercial sources. Where did that wax come from? It came from the cappings off of the commercial guys who use chemicals. So there are organophosphates in those that foundation wax. And I don't have a source of any other kind of foundation other than using plastic foundation, which has its own issues. So it's a funny road we're trying to walk. Even the people who are doing a certified naturally grown thing, you can get yourself certified as a farm called Certified Naturally Grown, CNG. And even those people are saying you must use this kind of wax. Excuse me, we've got that particular rule on hold because nobody can get it. So until there gets to be a source of certified natural wax, they can't hold anybody to that standard, or you wouldn't have any of those apiaries. So it's an interesting time in that regard. A very quiet time here. We're feeding, so I'll take a risk and just lightly pop the cover, but then you can take a look.
Stuck in the face.
Quieter time.